Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. They say cities never sleep, but sometimes they hold their breath. A late autumn road, haloed in mist, and a quiet shudder as headlights skim the verge. Reports speak of a white car and a sudden loss of control. Then stillness, the kind that makes you listen harder because you're no longer sure what you heard in the first place. Among the claims that followed, one detail took root. A small metal drive marked QH912. No grand speeches, no dramatic flair. Just 3 characters and a question too heavy for the smallness of that object. Elsewhere, telephones chimed. Feeds refreshed. 1,000 opinions began to braid themselves into something that felt like certainty. Yet wisdom tells us that immediacy breeds illusion. Early narratives can be loud, not necessarily accurate. In risk communication, experts warn against first-story bias, the powerful pull of the earliest version we encounter. So we note the scene. We note the silence. We note the detail that refuses to leave, QH912. And we promise ourselves something grown-up and difficult, curiosity with restraint. Why does 912 linger the way a chord hangs in the air after the orchestra has stopped? Human memory loves anchors, simple cues that help us stitch scattered fragments into a story. Psychologists call them retrieval cues. Folklorists call them motifs. Either way, numbers behave like mnemonic hooks in the mind. Here, 912 echoes with associations some viewers already hold. A whispered room number, a rumor of no exit. The idea that a sequence might be more than coincidence. Whether that's true is precisely the point in dispute. But the persistence of the number is not mysterious at all. Across cultures, we attach meaning to patterns. It's how the brain reduces uncertainty. Researchers also note our weakness for the apophenia trap, perceiving intent in randomness. Media literacy suggests a counter-move: write down what you actually know, then separately list what you merely infer. It's astonishing how honest a blank page can be. For now, the number does what numbers do so well. It sits, deceptively small, and calls everything else towards it. The most unsettling moments are often the shortest. Accounts describe a window scarcely 5 seconds long. A low, steady pulse. Not a melody or a voice. Simply the sense of something running. Sound engineers would tell you that low-frequency tones travel far, cling to surfaces, and are easy to misattribute: ventilation, tires across ribbed asphalt, a transformer's hum. In disaster analysis, specialists warn how the mind fills ambiguous audio with narrative, especially when primed by context. Still, the feeling remains, because stories are not just about facts. They are also about qualia, the way experience feels. Perhaps that is why people remember these 5 seconds so clearly. Short enough to be portable, vivid enough to be haunting. Instead of reposting unlicensed clips, here is a safer experiment. Try to describe the sound without any audio at all. Industrial. Ventilator-like. Steady, not swelling. When a community uses words rather than files, it becomes a lab of careful listeners, and protects itself from the copyright hazards that turn curiosity into collateral. A rumored hand in broken glass. A coordinate that may or may not align. A bedside whisper some say they heard. These are fragments, powerful to the imagination, insufficient to the historian. Mature investigation avoids the trap of confirmation bias, the tendency to favor details that fit our first theory. 3 filters help. Source: where does the claim originate? Support: is there independent corroboration? And sensitivity: could sharing cause harm? For decades, journalists have used variants of this triad. So have human rights investigators, who know that a misstep can endanger the very people a story hopes to protect. If the reality is murky, that does not make the search unworthy. It makes our methods matter more. Occam's razor also belongs in the toolkit. Prefer explanations that require fewer leaps. And yet, we must admit, mysteries rarely unfold in straight lines. So we tread carefully, resisting the theater of certainty. In this light, not yet is not a failure. It is the discipline that keeps the door open for the truth. Beneath headlines are kitchens where kettles still boil and families who sit quietly with questions heavier than ours. Whether you're in New York or Seoul, Tokyo or Bangkok, Singapore or Manila, Sydney or Paris, Toronto or Jakarta, the ache is familiar. We want people to be safe, heard, and remembered kindly. Social psychologists note that parasocial bonds, the one-sided closeness audiences feel with public figures, can intensify grief and care, sometimes to surprising degrees. That isn't foolishness. It is a human response to narrative intimacy. The task is to translate feeling into something ethical. If you leave a comment, write one sentence of goodwill, no speculation, no naming, no blame. If you light a candle or attend a vigil, keep it gentle and non-commercial. If you repost anything at all, ask whether the person pictured would want to be part of our conversation. The best stories are not merely gripping, they are gracious. And grace in public is rarer than we think. Curiosity is healthy. Let's make it useful. A. Your personal media ethics card. I will label rumors clearly as rumors. I will not share unverified private images. I will avoid doxing and harassment. I will report harmful comments. B. Safe Archiving 101. Note dates, times, and a neutral summary instead of re-uploading third-party footage. Where possible, link to official statements rather than mirrors. Use public domain or Creative Commons visuals. C. The 5-second journal. When a short clip unsettles you, write 3 lines: what I felt, what I know, what needs verification. This simple habit reduces anxiety and improves judgment. D. Bias check. Once per discussion, argue the opposite of your favorite theory for 2 minutes. Researchers call this a consider the opposite nudge, and it measurably reduces overconfidence. None of this kills the thrill of mystery. It preserves it, ensuring that when answers come, we can recognize them without the fog of our own wishful thinking. We remember the sound more than the scene, the number more than the paragraph, the pause more than the speech. Cognitive scientists have a name for this: salience. What is brief, intense, and unusual tends to punch above its weight in memory. There is also the Zeigarnik effect. Unfinished tasks and unresolved plots linger, tugging attention back to the open loop. Stories like this feel unresolved by design. That does not mean we are helpless. Many cultures answer uncertainty with community rituals. Quiet gatherings, shared readings, or simple minutes of silence. These are not mere gestures. They regulate stress and anchor compassion. If you participate, keep it respectful and nonpartisan. Avoid slogans that target individuals. Decline invitations to own or commercialize grief. In the end, what remains is not the spectacle but the steadiness, the patient belief that truth can arrive without fanfare, and stay. Perhaps the task is not to solve everything tonight, but to choose the next careful step. What is the caring thing to do now? For some, it's to log off for an hour and breathe. For others, it's to ask a better question in the comments. For editors and creators, it's to balance curiosity with care. Verify twice, publish once. Prefer clarity over heat. Protect the dignity of those who cannot speak. If 5 seconds can echo for months, let them echo as a reminder to look after each other while we look for answers. The story isn't finished. Perhaps it never is. But we can be the sort of audience that makes endings safer when they come patient, thoughtful, and kind. If this thoughtful approach resonates with you, please subscribe to StarWatch now, give the video a like, and share it with someone who values careful storytelling. Thank you for watching. Follow the channel so you won't miss our next episode, where curiosity meets care, and compassion stays at the center of every story.